the Iran war on Al Jazeera. Breaking news. Just a second. Breaking. Trump says Iran areas not hit before to be considered "quote unquote" for complete destruction. We are going to read all that. Dozens of people killing Israeli and ground raids on Lebanon. Dozens of people. And lastly, Iran president says neighbors not to be hit unless attacks come from there. Oh, this he's talking about guarantees. Is answering about guarantees for the reign of law, isn't it? So doesn't sound like it's escalating, because if Iran is not going to make war against everybody, yeah, it was just a warning against the US. And understands Iran is not invading nobody, not even making war consistently. He's just anyway. Let's read live updates about Iran. Trump threatens "quote unquote" very hard expanded strikes. Iran vows never to surrender, by Kaulam McGee and Christine McGuire. March 7. President Masoud Pezeshkian says Iran will never capitulate after U.S. President Donald Trump demands unconditional surrender. End quote. As the Iran continues to strike targets in Israel and Gulf region with drones and missiles. As the war launched by the US and Israel goes into its second week with no signs of slowing down. That's interesting, because I know nothing about it. I saw what I saw from Israel. A lot of soldiers leaving, surrendering, understand, white flag. And I saw I forgot what's the name. Hypersonic missile. Yeah, I saw an Iranian hypersonic missile. Terrible. So worse than it's like a ray, a thunder. Anyway, as the war launched by the US and Israel goes into its second week with no signs of slowing down, Trump threatens "quote unquote" very harsh strikes on Iran and claims Iran's "quote unquote" surrender to its neighbors after Pezeshkian said Iranian forces will not target regional countries unless attacks originate from there. The IRGC, however, has warned that all U.S.-Israel military bases and interests will be considered "quote unquote" primary targets if attacks on Iran continue. At least 41 people have been killed in Israeli air and ground raids on the Lebanese town of Nabishit in the eastern Bekaa Valley. One person has been killed in Dubai, authorities confirm, after debris from missile interceptions fell onto the marina area of the city. Visit our live tracker for the latest on casualty figures from across the region. 1 minute ago. 1 minute ago, and this is it's not so bad. Maybe it's the last time I come here to read. I will try Irna, but Irna looks like never recover. Irna never recovers, but there's Iran killed a lot of nuclear scientists. 1 minute ago, March 7, Netanyahu tells Lebanon to enforce 2024 ceasefire. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has told Lebanon and it's up to them to enforce the 2024 ceasefire agreement. Quote, "Your responsibility is to disarm the Hezbollah," end quote. He said in a video statement, quote, if you do not do this, Hezbollah's aggression will result in disastrous repercussions for Lebanon. It is time for you to take your destiny into your own hands. We will do all that is necessary to defend our communities and citizens. 11 minutes ago, UAE Defense Minister hold talks with counterparts. It says, the United Arab Emirates Minister of State for Defense Affairs, Mohammed bin Mubarak bin Fadel, bin Fadel Al Mozerroui, has held talks with several defense ministers following what the UAE described as Iranian attacks on the country. According to the UAE's Ministry of Defense, the discussions focus on strengthening defense partnerships and expanding areas of joint military cooperation. Defense ministers took part in the discussions from South Korea, Greece, Italy, and France. 21 minutes ago, drone targets U.S. military base near Erbil Airport in Kurdish Iraq. A drone has targeted a U.S. military base near Erbil International Airport in the Kurdish region of northern Iraq. Al Jazeera's correspondent on the ground reported anti-aircraft fire after several explosions were heard. Air defenses appear to be engaging the drone. There was no immediate comment from U.S. or Iraqi officials. 31 minutes ago, Hezbollah says it targeted Kiryat Shmona with rocket fire. Lebanon's Hezbollah says it carried out an attack targeting the northern Israeli city of Kiryat Shmona on Saturday night. In a statement, the group said the attack took place at about 9:30 p.m. local time, and involved what it described as a rocket-propelled grenade. Earlier, Hezbollah said it had launched a swarm of drones targeting the same city at about 5:30 p.m. local time. Saudi Aramco temporarily diverts some oil shipments to Yanbu port, state media says. 41 minutes ago, Saudi Arabian oil company Aramco diverted some oil shipments to the Red Sea port of Yanbu to ensure safety and continuity of supply. Saudi state-run Al Ekbariya TV reported on Saturday. Quote, "We are closely following developments to take appropriate decisions to restore operations to its normal status when the circumstances stabilize," this channel said. Saturday, 1 hour ago, head of Iranian 1 hour ago, March 7, head of Iranian National Security Council says U.S. failing in its goals for Iran. The Secretary General of the Iranian National Security Council, Ali Larihani, said that the U.S. thought it could execute a short war in Iran, and that it thought it could sow chaos by assassinating Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei. Yeah, that could happen. And other leadership, but that both of those assumptions have been proven incorrect. Oh, yeah, that's so right. He said that the Iran's leaders have warned separatist groups against moving against the government, and that Iran's people are united in the face of the U.S.-Israeli war. Yeah, such a good news. Larihani dismissed U.S. President Trump's desire to choose future Iranian leadership as foolish and reiterated the Iranian government's position that its neighbors will not come under fire as long as they do not allow their territory to be used to attack Iran. Yeah. More news. A minute ago, Qatar's Emir speaks with Trump. Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani called U.S. President Trump today, the Qatar news agency reports, to discuss the latest developments in the region and the quote-unquote continued unjustified Iranian attacks on Qatar. The escalation in Iran was also discussed, while the Emir emphasized to Trump that Qatar, quote, Qatar will not hesitate to take all necessary measures to defend its sovereignty, security, and national interests. There's a lot of news, huh? There's a lot of fresh news. Let's read all of them. 1 minute ago, Netanyahu's Lebanon to enforce 2024 ceasefire. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has told Lebanon and it's up to them to enforce the 2024 ceasefire agreement. Quote, your responsibility is to disarm Hezbollah, end quote, he said in a video statement. If you do not do this, Hezbollah's aggression, yeah, I read that. Well, that's it. I think there is no enough war. Still not enough war. Iran is being taking aggressions. Has been taking aggressions, and looks like nobody will really help Iran. Well, that's my humble opinion, my very ignorant opinion. Looks like nobody is really helping Iran. So maybe Iran is going to lose, just like Iraq. Anyway, unfortunately,